Welcome to the 8th episode of the TalkinTwenties Pod presented by 999 Nutrition. I'm your co-host, Dan.
And I'm Jojo.
Starting off today, the Combine is happening as we're speaking, and Sony Styles put up some pretty impressive numbers. If you don't know, he went to Ohio State.
Yeah, he took over the Combine. I think it was either yesterday or 2 days ago. Impressive numbers. First of all, he's listed at 6'5". I think maybe 252 pounds, somewhere around there.
Around there, yeah.
He's 8 pounds lighter than Derrick Henry. He had I think he ran a 4.49?
4.49,
40, which is
right.
insane for someone of that size. And he had a 44-inch vertical jump, which is the same as Nate Robinson. So, that's freakish athleticism. They compared him to Kyle Hamilton, and Kyle Hamilton stated, and I quote, "I just got brutally frame-mogged." So that was interesting to see. How do you think his numbers are, and how do you think he'll pan out in the NFL?
Yeah, dude. Just numbers. I mean, he had a great career, obviously. He won a natty. But just off numbers, definitely should translate. And I think really, obviously you're not going to put him at corner, right? But you're not going to put him at one tech or three. But really, I could see him getting used everywhere on the field.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Whether that's edge, linebacker, even dropping into
zone coverage.
Yeah,
easily.
Later more it's like a free safety.
Yeah,
or
if you put him on a tight end, he could do that all day.
And he's so tall too.
Yeah,
he'll be able to disrupt. I would love to see him blitzing.
Oh yeah, he will.
I don't know if there's a way for them to get him, but Seattle could somehow trade to get him.
That'd be tough.
Look out with that defense with Eamon and those other guys.
I don't know what he was projected to go before the Combine, but now, I would assume he's
top 5.
Easily.
Top 5.
And, linebacker, it's one of those positions where the numbers on paper at the Combine really matter. If you have a QB, for example, although they might have, freakish numbers, it won't translate directly to, wins or championships. I mean, look at Mahomes or Brady. They didn't do great at the Combine, and, they're some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but a linebacker putting up those numbers?
Yeah. I'm interested to see, I don't think they've come out yet, what his bench press numbers are.
Yeah,
you'd have to think it's going to be close to 30 because he's a strong guy.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah, definitely top 5 pick. I'm excited to see how Ruben Bain does.
Oh, yeah. You can't stop talking about him. Is that your favorite player?
Dude, he's good. But, yeah, there's a bunch of good players. I'm excited to also see some of the skill guys come in. Really looking forward to it.
It's going to be a good next season, I think. This past season, I think it was one of the better seasons in NFL in recent years. Yeah, I think it was.
I don't agree with
regular
that.
season. You don't think the regular season was good?
I think overall there wasn't like a clear cut number 1 team until later on.
And that's what made it great. You had the playoffs where Seattle. They were. I don't want to say they were the dark horse, but
I thought the Rams were going to win it.
Before the season started, everyone counted Seattle out. I counted Seattle out. I'll admit it. And then, once they got that number 1 seed and the playoffs were set, it was really a matter of, any team can win, especially in the NFC. The NFC was a bloodbath this year.
Yeah. I seriously, up until that game, I thought the Rams were going to make it. Yeah, I thought Stafford was going to get one more 100%. And cement himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. But, things happened. Seattle won. Congrats to them. The playoffs were great. I wouldn't say the regular season was great.
I think it was playoffs. I think all around was great. Super Bowl, maybe it might have been one of the more boring games.
Yeah.
But I think overall, every other game leading up to that was awesome.
Yeah, especially the Bears-Packers. That was a great playoff game.
That was cool.
That was interesting, yeah.
But,
Talk about that. Aren't you a Bears fan?
I ain't no Bears fan.
Packers fan?
Yeah, but,
how'd you feel?
Obviously, it was a tough loss, the 21-0 lead, I think, or 21-3. But Packers were very injured. Didn't have Micah Parsons. So we're a very injured team. So I think even if we do win that game, we definitely don't go on to win the championship this season. And that's really what it boils down to. In my opinion, a season isn't a win unless you win the championship. You can't say, oh, yeah, it was a successful season if you don't win the Super Bowl. So the Bears, they can go ahead and hang the banner of we beat the Packers in the playoffs. They still only have 1 Super Bowl to show for it in '85, and they're moving to Indiana. And they'll never see a 4,000-yard passer. So that's my take on it. Caleb Williams, he threw, I think, 5 interceptions and only 3 or 4 touchdowns. So he played terrible. He had 3 picks against the Rams. Game-losing interception, by the way. So, yeah, that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the game. I think I think the Packers just, even if they were fully healthy, didn't have the squad. Parsons would have made a big difference, but that offense. They need to fix how they're just by committee. You know, that works for a lot of teams, but they still need a number one wide receiver. You know, Reed's good, Wicks is good, Watson's good, but I think they need to go out. I think they will real number one.
I think they're gonna move on from Romeo Dobbs free agency, but I think next year we should see a great improvement in terms of usage with Matt Golden. I think he'll be a great playmaker. Christian Watson is, definitely cemented himself as a clear-cut wide receiver one on the team. So now moving on to the next topic, Cal Baptist University recently announced that they're cutting men's golf, men's swimming and diving, and men's wrestling. Now there's been a recent video that came out where I think it was the athletic director, maybe. He went in and told the wrestlers that they will be wrestling in their final match. However, the wrestlers wanted to wear all black singlets in protest to their program getting cut. Now the AD said, you can either go out and wrestle in the CBU singlet or you don't wrestle at all. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. So just to start off, they ultimately did wear the CBU singlets.
Oh, they did?
They did.
Okay.
But, I stand with the players. Okay. Some of those guys were 4th and 5th year seniors, brought in years ago. And to have it be told that essentially in the middle of your season that you're being done for kids that just came.
Well, is it the end of the season or is it the middle?
Right now it's closer to the end.
Okay.
So to have it be told that, hey, you guys are done, your sport's out. Right now we're focusing on wrestling, not even the other two. Right now I'm saying, hey, your sport's done. I stand with the players, the wrestlers. They worked their tails off to get that scholarship. It's a D1 scholarship. They wrestle in the Big 12, which is one of the best wrestling conferences in the country. So, you know what? I stand with the players. Now, granted, I see where the AD's coming from. He has a reputation, a brand to hold up. It's CBU wrestling. But you also have to think about it. How's that any fair to the players? So we're supposed to wear the name on our back that doesn't want us. They're kicking us to the curb because they're joining the Big West. Now, there is golf and there is swim and dive in the Big West, but they don't have wrestling in the Big West. So essentially what CBU is saying is you're not important to us, so now we're cutting your program.
See, I would disagree there. I think, I don't know when exactly, their final match was supposed to be. If the middle of the season, they still have 6 weeks left, and then they cut it, okay, that's one thing. But, if the season's already pretty much done, they've announced, I think like 2 months ago maybe, they announced that they will be cutting wrestling. I think that the players, that although they are cutting it, that's the school that gave them, whether they got a scholarship or whatever, that school that gave them a chance, gave them a shot. They're wrestling for that school. I think they should have to wear the CBU singlet. I think them wearing a all black singlet and protesting is wrong. I think they should wear the school's uniform in their final match. I think if anything, it would make a bigger statement to go out and wear your school's uniform and dominate in the final match and say, hey, we are CBU, and this is what we bring to the table. Keep wrestling at CBU.
But it shows that they don't care about you by you just conforming with what they want. It shows that they don't care about you. They're cutting your program. It'd be like someone saying, hey, you know what? We sold you that camera. We sold you that tripod. Hey, you know what? Once you're done with episode 8, we're taking it. That's not cool.
But if I bought it, that's one thing. These players were brought into, and most of them.
They worked for it, though.
I'm not saying they didn't work for it. They absolutely earned it. But at the same time, they are using the school's resources. The school's paying for them. A lot of them are probably on scholarship. It is a private university. So, unless you're paying $80,000 a year to wrestle, a lot of the kids are on scholarship. So, I think they should wear the uniforms. You said they already did, so I'm glad they did.
I don't think it's right for the AD to threaten them, though. That's a whole different story to me.
Well, he wasn't really threatening them. He said
he would cancel the match if they didn't wear what the school colors.
He said you can either wrestle in the singlet in your final match or you don't wrestle at all. And I think that's entirely
That's a threat.
It's not a threat.
That's inherently a threat.
No.
He's saying if you don't wear the singlet, I'm not letting you wrestle.
Wrestling is a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
So if you're going to wrestle for the school, you have to wear the school's uniform.
Okay.
You can't go out. You can't go and play for Alabama and say, oh, you know what? Alabama's not showing me love, but my old school, Southern Miss showed me a lot of love. I'm going to go out today and put on the Southern Miss uniform and play for Alabama as a protest.
Well, you know what? There's a lot at the collegiate level. There's a lot of club teams that wrestle. So you'll see singlets, hot Cheeto singlets.
Those are club teams, though. Those aren't teams that are paid for by the school.
But those club teams care about their wrestlers. CBU showed they didn't care because they're cutting the program.
Now, I don't know what the reasons are why they're cutting it. I may agree with them. I may not agree with them.
Their statement was so that way they could focus on their move to that Big West Conference.
Well, again, I'm sure there's a lot of, things that might be happening behind the scenes that we haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to come out and say I support or don't support the decision.
I don't.
In regards to cutting it?
Yeah, I respect wrestling. I did wrestling for a year back in high school, and it's probably the hardest thing I've done in my life. I respect it. And you know what? All it is because the Big West does not have wrestling, they didn't feel like going and keep spending the money in the Big 12, which is where they wrestle now. So you know what? In a way, financially, okay, I get it. Having to travel from California to Texas each weekend, all those schools, Oklahoma area, yeah, it probably is a big money and time commitment. But you also will get to recruit kids from all those other areas because, hey, people in other areas would think of California sometimes, especially where that area is, it's real nice, you know what I mean? So they would like to come out here and you could still wrestle in front of your hometown. So to me, I think they should support them, You've seen other collegiate schools cut a lot of sports. I think Sonoma State cut almost all of their sports.
I think they did.
I know someone who personally lost their scholarship there and went and found a home at another college. So, it's a tough situation when colleges cut it, especially if you just went to a school. If you're a freshman, like right now, if you're a freshman on that wrestling team, on that golf team, on that swim and dive team, that's heartbreaking. Because you know what? Chances are, if you went D1, you might not had another D1, but you might have had 5 other D2s.
No, I guess, although, some of the reasons I may or may not agree with, why they cut the funding, I still do, at the end of the day, believe that they should wear the school singlet.
See, I agree, typically you should wear the school, but to me, in that situation, it's your last time going out for the school. The schools already show they don't care about you. They're cutting the program. To me, if the whole team says, yes, we don't want to wear the school colors, I think you give the power to the players.
I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree then.
Now, a quick message from our sponsor, 999 Nutrition. 999 Nutrition's tactical grade pre-workout is here to get you through your workouts and everyday lifestyle. With 150 milligrams of caffeine per scoop, it'll give you that extra boost to get through your day.
Speaking of day, 999 Nutrition is offering the Training Day bundle for only $49.99. In that bundle, you will receive a bag, pre-workout, and wrist wraps. Go to 999nutrition.com today to get yours. Thank you to 999 for sponsoring the TalkinTwenties Pod.
Now back to the episode.
So moving on to some TikTok related news. Every week we have to bring the viewer some TikTok related news. IShowSpeed and Jeffy from SML, if you guys recall, they actually did a live stream together. It was pretty funny. I would recommend you guys checking it out. Have you seen it all? Have you seen any clips?
Nope. I just seen a clip today of IShowSpeed running around in his room.
Oh yeah.
That's about all I've seen.
Yeah, and then some more breaking news. Marlon, the streamer, who used to, be known for his look. I guess he still is known for his looks, but it was before collab, so he was mogging people. He actually tweeted that he's gonna go on a week-long, streak or whatever, where he's only gonna eat junk food. He's not gonna get much sleep. He's not gonna work out. I don't even know if he's really even gonna shower. He might shower a few days, but his goal is to reverse looks max and figure out how chopped he can get. He's going to do no shaving, no working out, no haircuts, straight junk food for a week straight, try to look like a chud. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I haven't seen this until you just told me now. I don't see the point. I think anybody, if they are heavy or big, should be trying to work to change that. So to kind of make a joke out of it, and 1 week of not eating good isn't going to make you look like a chud. You might not feel the greatest, but you're not going to become fat overnight off 1 week of eating poorly.
So you don't think it'll have a major effect on his looks? His looks maxing status?
Nope. I think the only thing that will change on him that you'll see is facial hair, if he can grow that.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
1 week, dude.
I can see that.
You give a month? Okay, I'll give you a month. You might look a little bit heavier.
I see. Yeah. So, Marlon's a streamer,
Mm-hmm.
right? And, speaking of streamers, there have been multiple streamers that have come out and actually stated that streaming is harder than a typical 9 to 5. Do you think that's the case?
No. Literally, no. There's no argument someone who streams or makes content can say that it's harder. The only hard part about making content, especially if you're a live streamer, is, you have to be on your toes for when someone says something. But even then, it's a digital world. It's not like they're sitting here next to me and you. So, no. You can't compare. You can turn on your stream whenever you feel like.
I agree.
You can't compare that to having to wake up at 4:30 and work a 12-hour shift and then go home, have to pick up your kids from school, and then feed them dinner, and then still try to have a personal life on the side. There's no comparison. I'm sorry. If you say streaming is harder than a real job, you're a joke. I'm sorry.
I agree. I agree that, streaming, I'm not going to say it's easy.
No, it's not.
It's not because, as easy as it may sound, you just roll out of bed, turn on the stream, and that's it.
No, you have to have a plan.
You still have to plan for the stream, plan for the week. You have to. There's a lot of little things that go into it.
Yeah.
However, in terms of real jobs,
come on,
it doesn't compete. It's not difficult.
Come on. And you know what? One might argue, okay, having a low end job is easier because you show up, you're 5-6 hours, you go home. But even then, that's customer service, and you're on the low end of the totem pole. Yeah. I've worked those type of jobs. People treat you like the gum on the bottom of their shoe.
And even in those jobs, obviously every month or so you're given your time off. You have your time off to use. However, if you run out of time, you have to show up, or else you're not going to make money. And some people, they need that money.
Yeah.
They live paycheck to paycheck. Whereas a streamer, I think Kai Snap, I don't think he's streamed in 4 or 5 months. And he's doing pretty good, to say the least.
Yeah, I never watched him really much. I've heard of him, obviously. He's popular.
He's got a new clothing line, Vivek.
Okay, nice.
We could talk about that in a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. And, I've heard of him. He was one that said that streaming's harder, right?
I don't know if it was him directly. I think it might have been either Ron or Lacey from FaZe that might have said it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever said that is completely false. There's no comparison. You can turn on and off your camera. If they don't feel like streaming for a day, they don't have to stream.
Yeah.
You know
I
what?
agree.
Look at Luke from the Outdoor Boys. He made all those content for all that years, and now he doesn't make any more content because he just wants to live a normal life. He never has to turn on that camera again. Sure, he still releases content from here and there, but sure, the comments might be like, please come back. But he still gets to live a normal life.
Yeah.
You can turn off that camera whenever you feel like it. So to say that streaming is harder than a normal job or making content is more difficult than a normal job is not. And you know what? I recognize the bias, okay? We do this for fun. We make a podcast for fun. So, I have other source of income. We do this for fun. But you know what? We choose to do this because we like this. Yeah. Same with the streamers. If streamers stop liking streaming, a lot of them don't go to college, granted, which you don't have to go to college. A lot of them don't know a trade. So you know what? They put their basket into the social media content world. But you know what? All it takes is a 6-month program and you learn a trade and you could be an apprentice somewhere and you start making pretty good money doing a real job.
But you can't hate on them for doing streaming and making money.
I didn't say that.
If you're making money, you're making money. But I will say, they're streaming on Twitch and Kick, those platforms. Then there's also YouTube. I think YouTube is harder than some jobs. Like take Mr. Beast for example. His videos take a lot of production, a lot of planning. Just a lot of logistic works. I think that's harder than some 9 to 5s.
See, to me, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. Now, yes, he does spectacles. I've seen him do Squid Games. I've seen him, make a Hunger Game, anything that, takes huge production setup. Yeah. But he's so big when it comes to money and popularity. He has a project manager. He has accountants.
But he also had the work to get there.
That's true.
So I think the work that he put in is actually harder than some people do at their 9 to 5s. I'm not discrediting anyone's 9 to 5s or discrediting Mr. Beast's early work. I'm just saying, just because he is big now and he does YouTube as his main job, I'm not discrediting any hard work. He definitely had to do a lot of things to get to where he is now.
I think it's a different type of work.
No, it is. It's definitely different.
To me, 9 to 5, more likely than not, it's a lot of 9 to 5s. You know, you're on a schedule. You work 8 hours. You know, you're forced to take a lunch break. You know, you go home. But really, with how it is nowadays, if you work one minimum wage job, you can't live off that. So you really have to work two, really, if you want to live. Yeah. Otherwise, you might be able to rent a room off one minimum wage job. But then there goes your budget for doing any sort of fun entertainment for the weekend or the month or whatever you get paid, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. So you know what? I'm going to stand on it. No. 9 to 5 is harder. It doesn't matter where you started.
No, I agree. 9 to 5 is harder than streaming.
Because I believe Mr. Beast, he went to ECU, didn't he?
No, he went to a community college for I think he either went for a semester or a year.
Okay.
But I don't think he actually really went. I think he had a documentary where he told his mom he went, and he actually was enrolled. However, he never showed up to classes. And I think it was actually stated that, I think there was a time period from, let's just say, August to January, from when classes start to, when the class ends, you get the grades come out. So I think he had from then until, January, till his mom actually saw the grades, saw the report card, for him to make it on the YouTube scene. And he did, but he had to work hard to make it.
Yeah, there's plenty of streamers that are huge now and YouTubers that, stopped doing college, but there's also ones that did go to college. MMG went to Michigan State. Los Pollos didn't go to college. There's successful people on both sides of the spectrum. Now, for me, I'm going to get my degree, even if social media does take off. I would get my degree first because although social media is big now, who knows what the world holds in 5-10 years. So just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, so, speaking of YouTubers and YouTube in general, what are your thoughts on FaZe Rug and Brawadis?
I still watch FaZe Rug from time to time. Brawadis, I kind of stopped. But earlier on when I was a kid, really enjoyed Brawadis' basketball content.
Yeah, it was great.
FaZe Rug recently just helped support a struggling restaurant. And a kid got a light goal and he took him out for a fun day, bought him gifts. They had a good time. So, FaZe Rug's doing good with this platform. Although FaZe as a thing might be over, Rug, as he goes by now, he's really doing some good things for the community. Oh, yeah. So I just want to give a big shout out to Rug.
Yeah, obviously I would say maybe 2016, 17. Obviously FaZe Rug's been, super popular since I would say about 2011, 2012 when he first joined FaZe. But then that's when Brawadis came on the scene about 2017. And, it was almost like if you were a gamer and, into, MLG and all those kind of stuff, then you would watch FaZe Rug. But if you were more of, a sportsy person, you like basketball, you kind of like, the mainstream music at the time, then you would watch Brawadis. So it was cool that, they were brothers, but they also offered a wide variety of content for their fans. So, it was great content back in the day. And
yeah, we've both definitely enjoyed watching the Brawadis brothers throughout the years. Yeah. Moving right along, though, keeping on the whole YouTube thing, growing up, we're both big sports fans and played sports all growing up.
Oh, yeah.
We were
sports
big,
games too.
Yeah, we're big Jesser, Cash Nasty, and Too Hype.
Too Hype in 2016, 17, legendary run they had. I mean, everyone in their group, was just amazing to watch. You had Jesser,
Mopey.
Wow,
Mopey's underrated.
That's a name. I forget. Wow,
I think he's living in Las Vegas now, just living.
I think he might be. He's done a few videos with Troy Dan. That's another huge YouTuber from the time.
Yeah.
You had
Zesty Jalapeno.
You got LSK. You got
TD Presents.
Fungus. You got a ton of people.
Who else is there? TD Barrett.
You got
Just Walker. What was his name? Walker.
Yeah, something like that.
KKS. I mean, the list goes on.
What was that dude's name that made the Kevin Durant diss?
Oh, Lost and Unbound. Chris Smooth.
You had
QJB.
Come on.
The list goes on, dude. Yeah. That was our childhood.
Okay, so not just from Too Hype, but just in general, kind of, the 2K, YouTube scene at the time. It was huge. Who was your favorite YouTuber to come out of that era?
Yeah, YouTuber.
Or just YouTuber, streamer, just person to come out of that era.
Okay, yeah. For me, MMG, YouTuber. But for streamer and watching clips from the stream, has to be Los Pollos. To this day, I still watch Los. Okay.
Yeah, he was good.
Content with his dad is hilarious. There's Ask Los.
Wad?
Yeah, Wad. There's Ask Los. There's GeoGuessr. There's Ask Wad. They watch 90 Day. They watch Dr. Insanity. If you haven't watched Dr. Insanity, those clips are insane. And Los Pollos and his dad do a great job covering, and it's comedy at its finest.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with Los. I watched some of his clips on YouTube or when I'm scrolling TikTok, but yeah, I definitely need to watch more. He's pretty funny, especially when they speed up his voice.
Yeah.
That's pretty comical. But, my favorite to come out of that era, Jester, he was always pretty solid. He held it down. He's still making great content. He has the, guess the NBA player or guess the NFL player. So he was great. But my favorite still is, to this day, Troy Dan. Easily.
Yeah, he's still funny.
Back in, 2016, 2017, he made some, made like insane content. It was amazing. He was a lot more unregulated at the time. He really said whatever he wanted, did whatever he wanted. It was great content. Nowadays he does reaction videos on his channels. He does some IRL videos with, Mopey or Fungus. I think Donjay has appeared in some of them. He'll go to like WrestleMania. He's just a great YouTuber to watch. I'd recommend you checking him out.
Oh yeah, you know what? Still on the YouTube topic, I'm a big MLB The Show fan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name 3 MLB The Show YouTubers that I grew up watching. That King Griff, he used to do 2K and MLB The Show. If you haven't seen a King Griff video, go back in time and watch it. He was hilarious, for one. Fuzzy is good. He does lifestyle stuff now too, talking about real baseball. And Shelfie is great too. So, I'm enjoying the baseball scene. I watch the Baseball Bat Bros where they test bats and hit home runs. I watch Eric Sim. Eric Sim's real funny.
Did you used to watch Dodger films?
Oh, yeah. Gabe, all them guys.
Oh, yeah.
Spidey, Onkit, Fernando.
Yeah, Superman.
Lil Kirsch.
You had
Sierra. Jeff.
Matt.
Andy.
You had
Cowboy Andy. Come on,
what was that dude's name?
Red Shorts.
You had Bradley Cooper.
Yep.
Legendary era.
Yeah, great times. I actually went to a Los Angeles Angels game and met Andy in the stands.
Oh, nice.
I have a picture with him.
Isn't he a Mariners fan?
He is, yeah. They're playing the Mariners that series. You know
yeah.
what? But I think if you're a kid out there and you enjoyed sports, every kid watched Dodger films.
I actually emailed what was his name? Bobby Crosby?
Yeah.
I actually emailed him, asking because we were actually going to LA, for a few days. So I actually emailed him saying, can I, and I was probably, 9 years old at the time, and I said, can I pop out to one of these softball games when we're playing it?
Oh, yeah.
He never responded, but, it was cool.
Yeah, I had that same hope of maybe when I could get in a video. Even when Bobby was doing like pack openings at that card shop, like, ooh, maybe I could go do the pack opening.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? Life moves on. Now they're grown adults. Yeah. Gabe's a grown adult. He's with D-Sarm and all
I think even the little one, the
Lumpy?
Yeah, Lumpy.
Yeah, he's like 12 now or something.
Yeah, he's grown now. He's a little older.
Yeah, so they're all getting older. The content's definitely different now. We're older now, so I don't really watch it as much. But definitely those memories are still there.
Yeah, especially when he would, this was, if you remember back then, if you're a real
we were
OG,
like 8 to 10. So
if you're a real OG of Dodger films, you'll remember when he used to actually go to the games and sit in the outfield and record the games until the Dodgers told him, he can't do that anymore.
I think his name was Superfan Steve used to be out there.
I think so. And they would catch home runs all game long.
That song, too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was awesome, dude.
And
Fireball?
If you still like content like that, you can check out Zach Campbell. He's always at MLB games, in the outfield, meeting the players.
There's a little controversy around him, though. What do you think?
Oh, what's the controversy about?
The narrative out there is he steals balls from kids.
I could definitely see why that may be, a take. He's always out there hustling, trying to grab any balls from the players. But if you actually watch his videos, he'll go up to a player, ask for a ball, but he'll always, he'll show it to the camera, but he'll give it to a little kid. And, although it's not the same as the kid actually catching the ball.
That's my thing. That's my thing right there.
The kid isn't actually catching the ball from the player. You also got to think, if Zach Campbell didn't give the kid a ball, would that kid even get a ball in the first place?
See, that's where I come in. Because I used to watch him when I was younger a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool what he did. I wanted to do that. Go travel city to city, try to get a home run ball, try to get some BP. He was part of the reason I went to spring training a few years back. Because I wanted to meet the players, get some balls. But I thought about it. And you know what? My him changed about 2 years ago. I used to love watching his content. Used to want to essentially be like him. I wanted to, honestly, he had a thing, I'm sure he still has it, where you could pay to go to a game with him. And
really?
he'd ensure that you got a gamer.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was like $1,000. I think you had to buy his ticket too.
Yeah, probably.
But
His flight and all that.
yeah, but and his videographer.
Hotel, you probably just sleep in the same room with him.
Okay, I don't know about that, but my opinion changed on him about 2 years ago because I've now grown older, and I thought about it. You know, I've had experiences of catching, you know, BP balls or getting a toss up from a player, whether it's at a AAA ballpark or even sometimes MLB. And you know what? My opinion changed. I used to be all in favor of him and think he was a great thing for the game. You know, spreading the game and giving. You know, he would give a kid a ball he caught as long as it's not a commemorative one. He'd make sure to give it away. But you know what? If a kid's in position to get a ball, to me, as a 40-year-old grown man, you can't take it from a kid.
I think it's wrong for if there's a kid standing there and he
reaches over and catches it.
That's wrong. But you know, if he's in the outfield, you know, he's by himself or whatever, and he gets a ball and then finds a kid, that's one thing.
Yeah,
I can get behind.
Like there's multiple clips of him essentially jumping into kids. Yeah. To me, that's ridiculous. If I was a parent, something's going to have to happen. So I don't know. I see where he's coming from. Where, hey, you know, he's just trying to help and he's trying to get his numbers up because that's what he dedicated his life to, which you have to respect. But to me, reaching over kids, bumping into kids, taking a ball from kids, or even when I've seen videos where he's at a spring training game or at a game in the middle of the season, it's a weekday, and there's a kid who didn't get a ball. He's already at 9 for the day and is screaming in 4 different languages to get a ball from a player.
No,
and it's like, come on, bro. You couldn't let the little kids get a ball.
That's real. That's real.
To me, the older I get now that I'm an adult,
it's all about the kids. It's all about the kids now. You know, let the kids have their fun. I was, you know, if I go to the ballpark, I'm just gonna sit back, relax. You know, if the kids are having fun, then everything's good.
You know, last time I got one from a player, I handed it to a little kid. You know, last time I got a giveaway and I didn't want it, I handed it to a little kid.
Oh yeah.
Because you know what? It's not of use to me, but that could make that kid's day. It could make that kid's day.
They'll remember that for a while.
Yeah, it could make that kid's week. Yeah. It could make the parents' day.
Oh yeah, it will.
You know what? I don't know. I'm not going to say he's a bad person. I won't say that because I don't know the man on the personal level. But to me, he got to take a step back. You're almost 50 now. You've had crazy lifetime numbers. You're essentially the #1 ball hawk that you refer to yourself as in the country. I would give it a break, bro. Let the kids have fun.
So with that, we are going to wrap up the 8th episode of the TalkinTwenties Podcast. I'm Joe, and this is Dan, and we're out.